Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about, is Thailand sick of tourists? Yes, I know that here in Thailand, the tourism industry is huge and everyone does depend on it, or at least most people depend on it for their livelihood and income. But as a whole, are Thais sick of tourists? So what we're going to do in this video is we're going to look at different reasons why Thais may be sick of tourists. So the first thing on our list is basically cost of living increase. In other words, let's take a look at housing. So there's a lot of neighborhoods here, and a lot of them probably would have a lot lower rent or sales price on the home if it wasn't for foreigners coming in thinking, man, those homes are cheap. Yeah, I'll pay that. When in actuality, that price is very high for Thailand. What that does is it inflates all the prices of the housing markets and certain restaurants, and there's just certain businesses that cater to tourists, and it kind of pushes the Thais out, unfortunately, because by us being here and we're willing to pay those prices, because to us, they're a lot cheaper, it basically inflates, it causes inflation here. So that's one of the biggest reasons I'm going to say that Thais could be sick of us tourists. The next one's a slam dunk, and that's inappropriate behavior. Now let's just imagine you're a Thai and you live in a touristy town. Every week you have a new bunch of tourists coming in, that's some of them's probably never been here before, and the last group just left, and all of them are acting like a bunch of drunk fools all the time. As soon as you get done with a bunch of drunk fools, another bunch of drunk fools come in that are throwing caution to the wind, having a good time, getting drunk, not paying attention to customs, courtesies, anything here. And that just happens over and over and over and over again. This can cause a lot of dismay, especially for those Thais who aren't in the tourist industry and still are going about their daily lives, and they're having to run into people like this from time to time. The next one is a lack of understanding for local customs. Let's just use taking off your shoes before you go into someone's house, or if it's an establishment that does require you to remove your shoes, you don't bother, you just don't feel like it, or you dress inappropriately to go visit one of the temples here in Thailand. Just fill in the blank. So you're doing something that you're used to doing in your home country, which is a big no-no. And let's just say you do know better, or you didn't, doesn't really matter, because the Thais we're doing this from the Thai point of view. So what they're seeing are people coming to their country who aren't doing the respectful things that people do here in Thailand. After a while, I'm sure that can get very old when they see it over and over again. The other one I want to talk about is economic dependence. Yes, they depend, a lot of them do, on tourism for their livelihood. But this has come back to haunt them, especially during the pandemic when all the tourists went away. And there were so many businesses that catered to the tourists, that catered to all that, and they were just done. I mean, the people who gave tours, the restaurants that catered to the people that were tourists or expats. I'm kind of using tourist and expat here all lumped in one, because basically we're all tourists here, whether we like it or not. So all these things taken into consideration, such a dependency on foreigners, just loop it into that, can actually be a deterrence or a very big drawback whenever it's such a dependency. So that's another thing that could really disappoint some Thais and make them kind of irritated and sick of foreigners, because it impacts their whole society around them, even if they have nothing to do with those types of industry. Another one is the strain that us foreigners put on the public services. Now, you may say, well, what service, or what are we stressing on that? At nighttime, in a lot of the tourist places with all the bars and all the partying, there are many foreigners that get drunk. They're getting into fights with other foreigners. They're getting into fights with other Thais. They're causing a big problem, and the police here have to handle it. So dealing with these gigantic foreigners coming here to Thailand when you are a Thai police officer can't be the most refreshing thing in the world. And then you got to look at all the innocent bystanders, the Thais that are looking at all these fights that are happening. You can find it in the news. If you don't think it's prevalent here, if you get the Thai news, You could see it all the time. People are getting arrested all the time, drunk and disorderly fights, stabbings, murder, jumping off balconies, and these are all done by tourists, foreigners, expats, fill in the blank. Also, I know a lot of Thais can also get irritated with the environmental impact that tourism has here in Thailand. For instance, some of the islands, the ones that are very popular, everyone wants to go to, well, that's a problem. They're popular. Everyone wants to go to it. So they've had problems in the past where the tourists have sunscreen on because they need it on. They're diving in the water. Apparently that's floating off and it's hurting the coral reefs. So you got all these issues that come with high tourism. So for those Thais who are very concerned about Thailand and the nature here, having tourists constantly come in and damaging the best parts of Thailand can be very annoying. And the last one we're going to go on this list is again back to concerns with violence with foreigners. So safety concerns. So a lot of people come here, and rightfully so, and concerned about their own safety. Thailand's a fairly safe place. At least it is for crimes against you, to hurt you. That really is few and far between here in Thailand. The only safety concerns I say you need to watch out for are like potholes or things that just happen on an everyday basis where they don't have a guardrail somewhere and you go flying off somewhere. But for the most part, Thailand is very safe. However, I feel very safe here in Thailand until I get around other foreigners. A lot of foreigners here run out of money, then they get desperate, then they start going to crime to try to get more money so they can stay here in Thailand longer. And again, like I said before, if you look at the news around here, you will see that there are foreigners in the news committing crimes left and right. So before coming here, just know that these things do happen, and yes, we are a blessing to their economic situation here in Thailand. There's whole industries waiting here for you to visit, and they do love to have tourists here. But just keep in mind, just because you're here, they shouldn't bow down and thank you, because you are bringing some negative aspects to the country that you may not even be aware of. So I do have some shout outs for those of you who have contributed to the channel, and those people are as followed. So on Buy Me a Coffee, I'd like to thank Craig E., Laurel S., P. Jax, Jake, and Rob L.A. And on Super Thanks, Leon B. So thank you very much for contributing to the channel. We really do appreciate it. And if you found this at all helpful, give us a thumbs up. And if you feel so inclined, buy us a coffee. We'd really appreciate it. If you're one of the people who are looking to move here to Thailand, we do have a step-by-step guide to moving here to Thailand that takes care of all your questions that you're going to have. And if it doesn't, we even put an email on there for you to contact us directly. So it has on there what to do when you're still in your home country, how to prepare, visa problems, what to do about your phone, how to establish a checking account or banking account here in Thailand, and the list goes on. So anyway, guys, thank you for watching. And until next time, I'm going to say thank you in Thai, which is Khap Khun Khap.